Hola clase, buenos días. ¡Feliz viernes! Hoy es el 18 de septiembre de 2020. Hoy vamos a leer el capítulo 6 de Piratas. Primero vamos a aprender el vocabulario nuevo. Después vamos a escuchar el capítulo y mirar un video y contestar las preguntas de comprensión en inglés y después escribir un resumen en español del capítulo. Y un anuncio muy importante que tenemos en Google Meet el lunes. Mira las horas. Primera hora a las 8:30, segunda hora a las 9:15. So take a look at your class's time, same time as always, and it will be the last Monday meet, since the following week we will be in school in person. Just a reminder, this is how your notebook should be set up for each of your chapters, with your vocab and then your comprehension questions and then your summary in Spanish, and your comprehension questions are always in English. All right, un resumen de capítulo 4. So just a quick summary of chapters 4 and 5. This is going to sound just almost exactly like what you guys wrote on your own, where you were finishing the blanks. So feel free to check it, because that was part of what you had to do yesterday and the day before for chapters 4 and 5. So capítulo 4. En el mercado, Henry no ve a Antonio. Ve a Raquel y piensa que es bonita. Raquel piensa que Henry es un pirata atractivo. Le dice a Henry que está sola en Cuba porque su novio la abandonó. Henry le dice que él busca un líquido mágico, pero Raquel piensa que es una leyenda. Raquel nota que Henry siente una atracción por ella y quiere usar a Henry para buscar a Antonio. Henry le dice que no se permite a mujeres en un barco de piratas, pero Raquel lleva ropa de pirata y va con el famoso Henry Morgan. So hopefully you know and understand in English what's going on here. So at the market, Henry doesn't see Antonio. He sees Rachel and thinks she's pretty. Rachel thinks Henry is an attractive pirate. She tells Henry that she's alone in Cuba because her boyfriend abandoned her. Henry tells her that he is looking for a magic liquid, but Rachel thinks it's a legend. Raquel notices that Henry feels an attraction for her. He is attracted to her, and she wants to use Henry to look for Antonio. Henry tells her that women are not allowed on a pirate ship, but Rachel wears the pirate clothes, and she goes with the famous Henry Morgan. So that was chapter 4. Same thing with capítulo 5. This should look very similar to the summary that you wrote by finishing the blanks or the sentence starters that I gave you. Feel free to check it, change it as needed. En su barco, en el Perla Blanca. So El Perla Blanca was the name of the pirate ship. Okay, so en su barco, Antonio piensa mucho en Raquel. No comprende por qué ella lo abandonó. Felipe piensa que Raquel prefiere a Cuba. De repente, Felipe grita porque hay un barco de piratas detrás del barco de Antonio. Antonio está frustrado con Felipe porque tiene muchas preguntas. Y los hombres españoles no preparan los cañones porque tienen miedo. Antonio piensa que los piratas no respetan a los españoles. So in his boat, Antonio thinks a lot about Rachel. He doesn't understand why she abandoned him. Felipe thinks that Rachel prefers Cuba, because that's where they were when they left. And she apparently told Felipe says she told him that she didn't want to go with Antonio and his men when they were leaving. Suddenly, Felipe yells because there is a pirate ship or a boat of pirates behind Antonio's boat, or the boat of Antonio. Antonio is frustrated with Felipe because he has a lot of questions. And the Spaniards don't prepare the cannons because they're scared. Antonio thinks that the pirates do not respect the Spaniards. So that's where we left off in chapter 5. Now, before we listen to capítulo 6, let's go ahead and write down and escribe into cuaderno, write in your notebook, all of our vocab for chapter 6. Starting with the nouns. Una voz is a voice. If you remember from the Beyonce song, oh yay, she uses the word voz in the song, so you may remember that or be able to, that might help you with what that means. Las espadas are swords, so like a pirate sword. El cuello looks like neck. It kind of looks like collar a little bit. Collar is what's around your neck when you have a shirt with a collar. Prepositions. Enfrente de means in front of. Kind of similar to frente a, which is in front of or facing or across from. And then verbs. Saben and se ríen. They both end in an N, referring to they. Saben means they know. Se ríen means they laugh. So make sure you take a minute to get chapter 6 down in your notebook. Vocab first, both in Spanish and in English. Pause if you need to. And as we are reading chapter 6, these are the questions you are going to be trying to answer in English. Número uno, what do the other pirates not know about Santiago? What does Santiago warn Henry about? Why do the other pirates look curiously at Santiago? When the pirates see the chaos on the Spanish boat, what do they do? What does Antonio use to try to attack Henry? What mistake does Antonio make when fighting with Henry? And why is Antonio happy at the end of the chapter? So first one we're listening for is, what do the other pirates not know about Santiago? If you remember at the end of last chapter, Raquel chose the pirate name, or the male name Santiago, for herself. So I'm going to read the beginning of the chapter, the first half, and then these are the graphics for what's going on in this chapter. And then we're going to watch a little scene by Dr. Eder and Mr. Ramoser, and then yours truly, I was the narrator. Okay? Capítulo 6 se llama El Ataque. And so we are in El Barco de Henry Morgan, in El Perla Blanca. A Raquel le gusta estar en el barco. Le gusta ser pirata. Le gusta la chaqueta de pirata. Y le gusta su nombre, Santiago. Los piratas no saben, one of your new words. Los piratas no saben que Santiago es una mujer. Santiago mira el mar Caribe y ve un barco español. Le grita a Henry en una voz femenina, another new word. Capitán Morgan, un barco español está enfrente del Perla Blanca. Another new word, enfrente. Los piratas miran curiosamente a Santiago, porque Santiago tiene una voz femenina. Tiene zapatos femeninos y pies, those are feet, pies muy pequeños. También, ellos piensan que es un hombre femenino. Todos los piratas miran a Santiago y no miran el barco español. Henry les grita, ¿por qué miran al pirata y no prestan atención al barco? ¡Rápido! Prepárense a atacar! So again, that question was for, what do the other pirates not know about Santiago? Okay. And what does Santiago warn Henry Morgan about? So we just heard both of those. Feel free, if you need to, scroll back and listen again. And why do the other pirates look curiously at Santiago? We just heard the answer to that too. So scroll back and listen again if you need to. Now, when the pirates see the chaos on the Spanish boat, what do they do? So we'll hear that next. So Henry just yelled, "Prepárense para atacar!" Henry quiere atacar el barco. Quiere robar la plata. Su plan es causar pánico con los cañones y después robar la plata. Henry les grita a los piratas, ¡preparen los cañones! Los piratas preparan los cañones y apuntan, they point it, point them, con los cañones al barco de Antonio. Un pirata apunta con un cañón al aire y ¡pum! Hay una explosión en el agua. Los españoles tienen miedo, pero no preparan los cañones. Ellos gritan y corren por el barco. Hay pánico y caos en el barco. Los piratas ven que hay pánico a bordo del barco y se ríen. It's another new word. Se ríen. Ha, ha, ha. Piensan que los españoles son cómicos. El Perla Blanca va hacia el barco de Antonio. Los piratas se preparan para abordar el barco de Antonio. Henry les grita a los piratas, ¡rápido! ¡Aborden el barco! ¡Ataquen a los españoles! Alright, so that's the first half of the chapter. Now we're going to watch a little clip for the end. So listen carefully, because you'll hear me, the narrator, at the end. And if you need to, if you don't hear it very well, you can go back into my PowerPoint, which is in Google Classroom, to re-listen to it. So last things we're listening for as we're watching this, end clip. So we just heard when the pirates see the chaos on the Spanish boat, what do? Go back and listen again if you missed that. Now, these are the things we're listening for during this last end action scene. What does Antonio use to try to attack Henry? What mistake does Antonio make when fighting with Henry? And what is Antonio happy at why is Antonio happy at the end of the chapter? Alright, here's the end of El Ataque.
Los piratas abordan el barco, atacan a los españoles con espadas y pistolas. Hay pánico entre los españoles. Los españoles tienen miedo, pero Antonio no. Con su espada en la mano, Antonio ataca a Henry. Le ataca a la cabeza. Henry responde con su espada y ¡plan! La espada de Antonio choca con la espada de Henry. Antonio ataca a Henry en el brazo derecho, pero Henry se defiende. ¡Plan! Las espadas chocan otra vez. Antonio continúa atacando a Henry, pero Henry se defiende como un experto. Antonio está frustrado porque Henry es un pirata talentoso. Henry va a la derecha y Antonio va a la izquierda. Henry va a la izquierda y Antonio va a la derecha.
Bailando.
Las espadas chocan mucho. ¡Plan! Antonio le dice,
¡tú eres un pirata excelente! ¡Qué bueno que observes que yo soy una pirata excelente!
Tú eres muy arrogante.
Gracias. ¿Quién eres?
Me llamo Antonio Medina.
Antonio Medina. Es un nombre familiar. Tú eres el hombre que sabe mucho de la isla secreta.
¿Isla secreta? No existe.
¿Dónde está?
¿No sé nada de un mapa secreto?
Antonio comete un error. Es un error serio. Menciona el mapa y Henry le escucha muy bien. Muy curioso e interesado, Henry se ríe y le responde.
No pregunté nada de un mapa. Te pregunté norte de la isla. ¿Dónde está la mapa? El mapa. No sé. Sí, lo sabes. Habla. ¿Dónde está?
Antonio está furioso y violentamente ataca a Henry. Henry se defiende y las espadas chocan. ¡Plan, plan, plan! Antonio ataca a Henry furiosamente y Henry no puede moverse. Está atrapado. Es obvio que está entre la espada y la pared. Antonio le pone la espada en el cuello a Henry. Antonio está muy contento. Henry conserva la cama, pero no tiene un buen plan para escapar.
Qué divertido. That was fun. Hope you enjoyed that. You're welcome. Okay, so again, those last questions we were looking for the answer to is, what does Antonio use to try to attack Henry? What mistake does Antonio make when fighting with Henry? And why is Antonio happy at the end of the chapter? So depending on how good my sound quality is, since I'm playing a video through a video, you may have to click on the link in Google Classroom or in my PowerPoint for just that specific video and go in and listen again. All right, so as you listen to these little parts of the story that I am going to read to you next to fill in the blanks, think about what the vocab words mean in bold, because these are your new vocab words, and then finish the starter sentence that I give you. Make sure to finish in Spanish. Anytime you can incorporate a new vocab word or phrase, be sure that you do so. And at the end of the entry, you should be able to understand what you wrote, and you should have been able to use all of the vocab words from the chapter at least one time if they're not already there in the phrases. So, okay, here is your chapter 6 summary. Again, if you ever need to pause or rewind, feel free. But for capítulo 6, a Raquel le gusta ser pirata. Make sure that you're writing this in your notebook, and then we're going to finish the sentence starters. Some of them are already started for you. Su nombre es Santiago. Los otros piratas no saben que Santiago. So, you're going to finish that sentence. And I'm going to read you a little portion from the chapter that should help. A Raquel le gusta estar en el barco. Le gusta ser pirata. Le gusta la chaqueta de pirata y le gusta su nombre, Santiago. Los otros piratas no saben que Santiago es una mujer. So finish that sentence. Pause if you need to, rewind if you need to. Next one. Santiago le grita a Henry. Que un barco español está. Think about it by memory if you remember. The first one said the other pirates don't know that Santiago blank, and this one says Santiago yells at Henry that there is a Spanish ship where. In the book, she yells, Capitán Morgan, un barco español está enfrente del Perla Blanca. So finish that sentence in Spanish. Pause if you need to. Next, los otros piratas miran curiosamente a Santiago porque tiene. So finish this sentence. There's a few things you could say. And then from the chapter, it says, los piratas miran curiosamente a Santiago porque Santiago tiene una voz femenina. Tiene zapatos femeninos y pies muy pequeños también. Ellos piensan que es un hombre femenino. So there's a few things you could say for that. But there is a vocab word in one of them. So use that first before you add anything else. Rewind if you need to. Los piratas atacan a... Who? Se ríen, ha ha ha, porque los españoles... So the pirates attack who? They attack who, and then they laugh because the Spaniards what? And then one before this, I can't remember if I translated it. The other pirates look curiously at Santiago because he has what? So that was the one before this. But now the pirates attack who? And they laugh because the Spaniards something. Okay. So, let me find where they talked about that. Okay. This one's a little bit longer. Los piratas preparan los cañones y apuntan con los cañones al barco de Antonio. Un pirata apunta con un cañón al aire y ¡pum! Hay una explosión en el agua. Los españoles tienen miedo, pero no preparan sus cañones. Ellos gritan y corren por el barco. Hay pánico y caos en el barco. Los piratas ven que hay pánico a bordo del barco y se ríen. Piensan que los españoles son cómicos. So again, who do the pirates attack? The pirates attack blank. They laugh because the Spaniards blank. Or rather, what do the pirates attack? And next, Antonio ataca a Henry con. So Antonio attacks Henry with what? Pero Antonio menciona el mapa y Henry se ríe. But Antonio mentions the map and Henry laughs. All right. Let me find where we got here. Okay. So in the book it says, Los españoles tienen miedo, pero Antonio no. Con su espada, that's one of your new words, con su espada en la mano, Antonio ataca a Henry. Pero Antonio menciona el mapa y Henry se ríe. And last, Antonio ataca furiosamente a Henry y le pone blank. Está atrapado. So, okay, it says in the book, Antonio está furioso y violentamente ataca a Henry. Henry se defiende y las espadas chocan. Clan, clan. Y Antonio le pone la espada en el cuello a Henry. That's another new word, el cuello. Antonio le pone la espada en el cuello a Henry. Y Henry está atrapado. So if you need to go back and listen again for any of it, feel free. Make sure that you have completed your chapter 6 notebook page. Again, you're not turning it in yet. On Monday, I will be asking for some of the things that you guys did this week, but Monday we have a meet. We'll go over a lot of stuff. Most of this stuff that you did this week over capítulos 4 y 5 y 6. And then next week, when you guys come back at the end of the week, we're going to have a little notebook quiz of some sort so that I know that you have been staying on top of your work and not just doing the work that I'm asking you to turn in. We have to learn how to be responsible and holding ourselves accountable for the work that we're given, even if it's not being turned in that specific day. All right, if you have any questions, escríbeme y buena suerte.